So uncouth.
Carol, you just crackled again. I don't know what's...
Oh, really? All right, just hold on a sec. I'm just going to ask Carol to help me. You guys
No,
keep
I
chatting.
think just go back a little bit. I think it's literally distance. Yep. And now you mute. Unmute yourself. Free yourself.
It's a very unusual scenario.
I backed away so far, I completely muted myself.
I think it's got to be a first that you muted yourself.
Welcome to So Uncouth, a podcast filled with conversations you can't have in polite company. I'm Victoria Hannaford, a recovering journalist. I'm with Caroline Craig, an actor, lady about town. She likes to frequent local parks. We'll get to that later. And we're with our friend, the mysterious Bunsen burner, who's drafting a response to your email as we speak. Which one will you get, though? There's often a couple of drafts in the drawer. We are three friends who live in three different cities. So you're joining our weekly catch-up, and we're delighted you're here with us. Now, Bunsen, you're usually in Sydney and,
Correct.
An undisclosed location in that very large city. And now you are in a different location. I will say you are somewhere in the state of Queensland.
Correct.
On an alleged holiday. Sometimes these things don't feel that relaxing, though. They're not always a holiday. I just want to say, before we get to, a recap of your week, have you been force-fed alfalfa at any point in Queensland? Because I feel like that is a state that refuses to let alfalfa die.
Really? They love alfalfa.
Do you know what? At this point in time, if someone presented me with alfalfa, I would eat the whole tray.
Really?
Wow.
You're that hungry? Or have you converted?
Well,
Are things just desperate? What's been going on?
well, let's just say that there's a lot of deep fried. We've just been eating kid holiday food.
You're eating nugs?
Chicken nuggies. Actually, we're not a nuggie family, I say. I just feel like there probably hasn't been enough vegetables. So I'd be quite happy to
You take the fibre.
eat some alfalfa.
What if it was battered? Would you eat battered alfalfa? Deep fried?
I think that's called tempura. Yes, I would. Listen, I haven't come across much alfalfa. I'm at I believe there are enough other people here for it to still not reveal my identity. I'm on the Gold Coast.
Oh, glamorous. Fancy.
Oh, we have a location.
Yeah, and I realise this is a very first world, kind of conversation to have. But I'm in an intergenerational holiday.
You're sandwiched. You're the meat in a generational sandwich.
I'm sandwiched, and I'm taking my kids on the kind of holiday that my parents refused to take us on.
Oh, like theme parks.
It's a revenge holiday.
Well,
it's payback.
perhaps it.
Payback at the Big Four. Is it?
I don't know if it's payback, but it is. Listen, it's caused me quite a few existential moments because it's just kind of like,
Can we just pause on this for a moment, Bunsen? So let's go back to baby Bunsen, young Bunsen. Let's have a flashbacks moment, maybe a sound effect.
Doodle-doo. Dee-doo.
What did baby Bunsen want from a holiday that Bunsen never got?
I wanted kind of like, I don't know, something to do.
Adventure.
I thought you always went on
park.
hiking trips and things like that, like physically extreme sort of, arduous, strenuous mountain climbing.
Well, I guess when I say something to do, I feel like there was a lot of going on holiday was about having obstacles presented and overcoming them. So whether or not it was kind of like kayaking or canoeing for 4 days and camping overnight, or
was there any near-death experiences?
There is a photograph of me abseiling at the age of 7 on something.
Oh, my God. I'm so impressed.
But there was a period of time slightly later when my parents discovered youth hostels and became members of YHA.
And they weren't the Y.
They were not the Y. I was the extreme Y.
Did you stay in a bunk room with a whole lot of people who were rustling their plastic bags?
Yeah. So basically they decided that they were like, oh, we found this great way to stay in beautiful and intrepid locations cheaply. If you stay, you then offer to do a job because it's a communal kind of thing. So you do a job and then that's how this whole Youth Hostels of Australia, YHA thing works.
Hang on, so they were like, it's cheap, and then they're doubling down on like the expense by exchanging labour for free accom.
So if my kids go up the chimneys and scrub the decks, we only have to pay $20. Is that the deal?
Well, for some reason, they were under the impression that that's why all prices were subsidised, was that everybody was doing a job. So kind of like a kibbutz
I
kind
was going
of.
to say, it's like a kibbutz.
But basically, I don't think anyone else got that memo about the jobs. And so I do have this one memory of kind of like rocking up to kind of, because I was old enough by this point to kind of go, hang on a second, rocking up to kind of like what ostensibly looked like a share house in Mackay in far north Queensland, like an old Queenslander house. And there being some guy who now I can look back was like probably stoned or something sitting on reception. And my parents kind of saying, hi, we have a booking. And also, so what are our jobs? And this guy just going, well, you could clean the toilets if you want, kind of thing. And
They got it slightly wrong.
Yeah.
They're just offering free labour.
my mum and I would stay in the girls' dorm bunk bed, and my brother and my dad would stay in the men's dorm.
Wow.
bunk
So
bed.
you really stayed in the
Okay.
dorms and everything. I was joking about that because you can get family rooms at some of these joints. Wow.
Yeah. Why pay? Why pay when you, yeah.
So did you hate it, or was there a part of you that loved it? Was there any exposure to like cool backpackers where you're like,
Mm.
I see where I could be, but I'm here, and that was a bit sad? Or was it just all hatred? Because I would have absolutely hated it.
Well, listen,
would've
I
been
do
morto.
remember my brother and I pissing ourselves in the Rockhampton Youth Hostel when we were in the communal area and we could hear my dad snoring from the men's dorm
Oh.
like
Oh,
100 metres
poor
away.
Papa Bunsen.
It's hard when other people come and go, Jesus Christ, that guy, I wish someone would shut that old guy up. And you're like,
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly the vibe.
Who's
But
he?
there was a time, and listen to me, here's me, spoiled brat. Like, we were in these absolutely amazing places.
Yeah.
And I do remember once we were we had one of our exchange students with us, and we were trying to pretend that we were like just extremely young backpackers. And then
Like 12.
yeah.
We're on the lam. We're on the run, guys. We're trying to make it across the border.
I think I was 14. She would have been 16 or something. And she, she's Danish, so it's sort of vaguely plausible. Anyway. And then I do remember, like, we were sitting there trying to pretend that we didn't know who these old people were, who were our parents. I think we've been has spent the day doing something incredibly cool, like whitewater rafting or, like honestly.
I'm actually a bit jealous, mate. These sound like great holidays.
They actually do.
We did go to these amazing places, and we had our dinner. And so we kind of had thought that we could just now pretend to ignore the old people. Finally sort of done it, and we're starting one of those, where have you been? Where are you going?
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
backpackery conversation.
Where you're just trying to
And then-
out-cool each other with your travel stories.
Where are you off to? Up the Mekong?
Oh, no, just like Rockhampton.
McCoy, Townsville.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then Mum came up and yelled at us for not having done the dishes, and then which was just totally excruciatingly embarrassing and annoying. And then she left, and then the exchange student turned around and was like, "Geez, Mum can be such a sometimes."
Really? Maybe if you say it in a Scandinavian accent, it sounds a little.
Well, I think we'll just bleep that. Yeah.
I know, it's too delicate for the so uncouth ears. It's too much. It's too much.
So anyway, so this is not the kind of holiday that I'm on.
What?
Right
Yeah,
now.
so what are you trying to break against? So if this is the
Well,
holiday
I'm
that's
sort of
not
got-
that, what are you
Your own
doing?
beds.
I've swung the other way. We've all got our own beds. We've also got our own bathroom. The kids have not cleaned any bathrooms yet.
You've got jobs though, haven't you? You've probably got heaps
Mm.
of jobs.
I've got a few jobs. And we've also been to 2 theme parks.
Wow.
And only one of which I had one parent accompany me to, but we just both sat there just going, this is
It's
hell.
hell. Theme
I
parks are
hate
hell.
this
I'm
place.
so glad you agree.
Well, actually, I love the water one. Like, I've become a full adrenaline water slide convert.
oh,
I don't
is it
mind.
Wet and Wild? Is that where you went?
No, that one, we had an awesome time. I love it.
Yeah.
It was
I've
amazing.
never been
Can I
there.
just say I disagree? I, like you, Bunsen, had a very underprivileged childhood. No, that's a lie. We went on some great holidays, but I never went to Disney World or anything like that,
No,
mostly
neither did
because
I.
it was like overseas and I don't think it was a thing. But of course, like I had some curiosity about it. Finally went last year in Japan. It is the happiest place on earth.
Oh, you
I had a
loved it?
bloody great time. Yes, it was.
Yeah, but you're not going on horrible rides where you drop out of the sky and you'd find out
Yes, we
someone actually
did.
got rolled over by some logs and
No.
3 people died last week.
They have a very good safety record, unlike some theme parks. No, but
Gold Coast theme
yeah,
parks.
but there are some genuinely horrible things that have happened at theme parks. But Disney run a really tight ship. Like, Caro, you would be interested to know. The first thing we did was go and see a show, like just
Great.
because
Oh,
we
that's
didn't
good.
know what was going on. And it was incredible. Like
Oh,
it was
great.
musical numbers and it went on for like, I don't know, half an hour. And it shocked me how much I loved it. Like I just kind of went in a bit of a blank canvas and it was incredible. And then the first ride we went on was the teacups and it was amazing.
Teacups is about my
Teacups, no,
speed.
that's-
That's right. They don't spin around too much, do they?
That's just a recipe for vomit in a vortex.
Oh, they really
for me.
spin around those teacups, do they?
Yeah, they do. And you can make them
Ah.
spin more. We were maybe
Ah.
doing some illegal spins. I was with my friend Johnny from the UK and it was a time. It was a great day. It was a bit rainy, so it wasn't as busy as it might have been, but I had the best day. I was exhausted by the end. I probably didn't eat enough because I was too busy getting another ride in and just really like
That's
5
awesome.
stars. 5-star experience.
5 stars.
Yep.
So this is Tokyo Disneyland you went to?
Yeah. It was
Wow.
amazing. It was
That's
amazing.
pretty special.
But I did feel like you, Bunsen, I was kind of righting a wrong from my childhood. Not really a wrong, but just like, how will this go? Like, never did this as a kid, experiencing as an adult. And I did expect to find it hellish, but I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, one of them I found hellish. The other one I did really love, but it's more just that kind of thing of when you're the sandwich, you're kind of going.
Yeah.
Now I just feel like it's the time when I forced my parents to go to KFC and they asked for a knife and fork.
Caro, what's your family holiday experience?
I would have loved to have stayed in a YHA because then there would have been other people on these holidays and there might have been some other, teenagers or cool people or just, sanity. And it could have really latched onto that. But no, I remember just like long car trips in the Tarago from Melbourne to Queensland, during which my dad decided it was time to do a science project and I had to work out about erosion. I had to find out points of erosion along the way. And he'd say, "Can you see any erosion here?" And I was like, I don't know. "Well, what is erosion?" I'd be like, "I don't know." And so it took me from Melbourne to Queensland and I was had to get thrown out of the car at various spots where there are great fissures in the environment. And then I had to work out why there was erosion, what erosion actually was. And it was all to do with European farming methods and how they'd ruined the Australian landscape and sheep and how bad sheep farming was. But I could never actually quite work out what it was. So I'd be like, "Is that erosion? Where? What? No, what do you mean?" And then I'd be thrown out on the side of the road. To this day, I remember just going, I just didn't actually quite know what erosion was until I was absolutely eroded. I was eroded. So it was meta.
If I were to ask you now, Caroline Craig, what is erosion?
It's erosion.
How would you answer?
My adult self after that childhood. That's what it is.
That's every
And
holiday
I
I've
am
ever been
a
on.
broken down coral that's been through a bird fish's ass. I basically
Yeah, she still doesn't know. That shows me she's got no idea. She's
but-
really putting us off the scent.
My dad gave me his camera, right? And I had to take photos of it as we were speeding by in the Tarago. And sometimes he'd slow down. And I knew if he slowed down, that meant I had to take a photo of something that was meant to be a road. So at the end of the holiday, because of course it's the 80s, right? All the photos are brought up and they're just like photos of fences and gutters and stuff like that. But now when I'm driving, all I can see is erosion. I'm like, "There's erosion. There it is. An old riverbed dried up. One tree. If only they'd let another tree grow there. Look at that. Eroded." Like, it's terrible.
I cannot
So
believe
depressing.
it's dreadful, and I cannot believe you have it in you to slag off theme parks after that. Like, come on. Anything would have been
never-
better than the erosion holiday.
Erosion holiday.
Nightmare.
Oh shit! And then I remember we got to Sydney and we sat in Lilac Bay, whatever it is, Lavender Bay, looking back at the Opera House and being like, oh, I was fully eroded by then, but it was very, very beautiful. It was about 11 o'clock at night.
I feel like that is like something you would have talked to your therapist about at length.
Erosion.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And then various Latin derivations. Erosion was better than the Latin derivation because it'd be like, what does subterranean mean? Think about it. Break up the word. Do you know another word with sub?
all my emotions, subterranean.
sub-
Thanks, Dad.
Special? No, that's not sub. That's special. What do you mean? Like it was like that.
Oh gosh.
Dreadful.
Sorry, guys. They did go to Wet and Wild, but it was my dad and my brother. I didn't get to go. So
Oh.
because I was doing Seven Little Australians, the musical by that point. They wonder why I ran away to the theatre. Huh?
Child labour. It was your only out at that point, Caro.
That's right. I was eroded.
So uncouth.
Caro,
Yeah.
so you mentioned just before we started that you had a recap for us, and I believe it's something to do with you roaming around local park toilets. Like, I don't want to. I don't want to imply that you've
My
been doing
local
anything
route.
untoward.
Maybe some people might call it a beat. I was wandering around, beating a path around the park, and I was approaching the toilets, that I recorded.
The ones that play
Definitely.
music.
The ones that play music.
Just as a little recap, a couple of weeks ago, Caroline did get us to guess that sound, and what the sound was the
Music playing from a toilet.
Music
Yep.
playing from the toilet.
Yeah.
not a user playing the music, but the actual toilet playing the music. Okay.
When it was locked, when someone was in there. Anyway, I approached the toilet and I could do this, and he's coming around the bend, and he's racing off, and I was like, oh my God, the toilet is playing, it's race calling. The toilet's playing the races. Is it like to speed people up? Like
Is
when
it like
they-
an inner city venue now? Like, what's happening? Sports bar.
Like, what the hell's happening? It's turned into a sports bar. People just dumping off their, I don't know. Anyway, I came and someone was cleaning the toilet. There's professional cleaners in there cleaning the toilet, listening to like talkback radio or the race calling on the radio and 774 or whatever they're listening to. And I just thought, hang on a minute. These toilets, the whole point of them is that they're self-cleaning. So there you go. I just wanted you to know there are people getting gainful employment from these toilets.
Can I just ask, did you crouch outside the toilet with a listening device, kind of waiting to see what was going to happen when that toilet door opened? Like, how did you?
I tried to be a little more subtle this time. I just walked around.
Just used your ears.
I used my ears. I thought, what is happening in there? Is someone dropping off? Are they trying to do a record speed poo? Is that what's happening in there? Are they trying to get a massive, I don't know, chain link of poos out
before the dog crosses the line.
Chain link of poos. Jesus Christ. And you guys call me uncouth. That is like.
Cut that bit out. Cut it out. But then I came around the corner. I was
I
like,
love it.
No, I'll be the arbiter of that. It stays.
what I'm saying is that this isn't as bad as I thought it was. I thought first of all, it was speeding people up through their biological, natural processes, which is wrong. B, you're not
Chain
allowed to
linking.
stay in the toilet. You're not allowed to stay in the toilet to have a rest if you wanted to, just to get some time away from perhaps a family holiday. You're not allowed to sleep in there. And what's more, it's putting someone out of a job because it's self-cleaning.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the whole idea, was that it was self-cleaning, like get out fast because this toilet's going to rinse. And if you're in here, you're going to get rinsed
It's
out.
going to be an avalanche.
You're
of
going to get
water.
flushed out of here, buddy.
Suds.
But no, the guy turned around and went, are you right? Do you need anything? I won't be long. And I was like, no, it's okay. You're doing a great job.
I'm just here to listen. You absolute truth.
Just here to find out if Dyko Races is coming around, if Golden Run's going to make it to third place for the trifecta.
I'm just really interested in the sounds that are coming out of the bathroom. It's fine, just as you were. Right. So creepy and weird.
Very important update. I just needed to let you know.
Thanks. I feel very different now.
Now, Caroline, I've just sent you something.
On the email?
Yep, on the email. It's a little dilemma from a listener. And just to kind of set the scene before Caroline puts her golden tonsils to work, it came after a recent episode where I discussed that at the end of singing Happy Birthday, my family tradition is to do a wolf howl. And so this dilemma relates a little bit to that. Caroline, do you have the email in question?
I do.
Would you like to proceed reading?
I do, and I'm ready. I've got my golden tonsils on. Thank you for another scintillating app. Hilarious as always. Your mention of uncouth birthday parties reminded me of a recent 5-year-old birthday party. My partner had made a beautiful Barbie ice cream cake in the shape of a dress with a real Barbie poking out of the top, as requested by the birthday girl. Imagine my surprise when my partner lit the candles while the children sang and then lit Barbie's hair on fire as a finishing touch. Needless to say, melted head Barbie was quite a showstopper. Am I uncouth for suggesting a wolf howl next time?
For suggesting a what next
A
time?
wolf howl.
Oh,
That's hilarious. And a bit toxic too. Like,
I really hope no one ate that cake because you're quite right, Caro. Like that's some highly flammable
like-
plastics, microplastics.
I want to know whether or not the hair lighting was intentional. Because I have accidentally once lit my own hair on fire, but that was not, I didn't mean to do that.
You weren't on the top of a birthday cake?
I was not on top of a birthday cake. No, I was just, my hair was very large and I was just absent-mindedly fiddling with a lighter. Some of my hair just kind of caught on fire.
It's your drumming parts, wasn't it? It's rhythmic.
Someone actually kind of leant over the table and hit me over the side of the head and I was like, what the fuck? Anyway. But that's a very different kind of scenario. Like, was the Barbie's hair supposed to be kind of like the equivalent of like sparklers and it was like the intentional kind of like, woohoo, this is the crowning moment? Or was it
Barbie's head explodes.
Do you know what? I think
was
it was
it an
deliberate.
accidental kind of
No, I'm reading it now and it said, imagine my surprise when my partner lit the candles while the children sang and then lit Barbie's hair on fire as a finishing touch. I think it was deliberate.
Oh, it was a finishing touch.
Oh.
I missed the intention there. Bad actor, bad actor. That was actually a deliberate action. Wow.
Maybe they just really hated Barbie. Maybe it's an anti-feminist gesture, an act of protest.
It does seem like, you know how they say about
violent from
kids
birthday
shows
party.
that the best kids shows are ones that have jokes on two levels, like one
the parents.
for the parents and one for the kids. I feel like this was just kind of like a full joke for the parents, which is not funny for the kids.
Kids just, I can imagine
Kids are screaming. Parents are kind of laughing but not, wondering who's going to eat the cake and why said partner has a vendetta against Barbie. Like, what did that person experience in childhood? Did they not get a Barbie?
What did Margot Robbie ever do to those parents? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, Australia's own Barbie. You leave her alone. Alone. Very uncouth. And I would say a family howl at the end of that particular rendition of Happy Birthday.
I don't think they need a family howl. I think they need a family sort of set of fire extinguishers.
Or just some counselling.
Family therapy. Exactly. I think that person needs to go away, take a good long hard look at themselves and maybe watch Barbie one more time.
Yeah. Because there are some other messages that Barbie has.
I always wanted one of those cakes when I was a kid.
Oh, like one of the Australian Women's Weekly specials.
Yeah, they're called like a Dolly Varden cake or something.
Yeah, but this wasn't that. This was a cheap version of that for sure, like because it was a Barbie ice cream cake. I would posit a guess that it wasn't even a real Barbie.
Yeah. We do have a legless Barbie that is being used in various cakes. It's been a mermaid. It's been...
What have you got against Barbie, Caroline?
Well, it just helps not to have the legs because you just shove the whole, if you've got
Who does
legs,
it help? It doesn't help Barbie, does it? It's an intentional act of cruelty.
Barbie can still have a fulfilling life. I don't really know what you're talking about.
Sorry,
Victoria.
She's
my bad.
transformational.
That was ableist. Yeah, no, that was wrong. I'm just sorry about that. Look, I just want to say I'm very excited about Barbie 2. Whatever Margot Robbie has cooking up, I'm ready for it.
Oh, are they making a Barbie too, are they?
Apparently. Well, she's looking into it. there's all sorts of things that very accomplished lady could do next. Who knows?
Yeah. And that Greta's an amazing director too.
I would love to see a plot point in Barbie.
Yeah, this could be a plot point in Barbie.
I reckon this would be a fantastic plot point if she was in a cake and having her hair set on fire by some real Barbie haters.
Wow.
Then she turned them around.
You could just shove your head in the ice cream. You should be all right.
Note to Margot Robbie, that is a potential plot point, and we want writers' credits and a deal on the back ends. Thanks very much, because the first one did pretty well. So, but yeah, I would say that this whole incident, it feels like a little vignette of something that requires further investigation. There's a number of conflicting things going on here.
If the member of the Couth who wrote in feels that they would like to give us any further context for perhaps the feelings of the parents leading up to the birthday, perhaps the division of labour within the household, and also the fallout after the whole party, I'd be very interested. But if they
Some
want
kind
to
of
share
psychological breakdown, because of what the whys and wherefores,
the motivation for that hair being on fire, because there's got to be a reason.
Once the smoke is cleared and the ash has fallen.
And then that could help Caroline do another reading. Once the motivation's more clear,
Thank you.
she could do a different kind of reading or
Perhaps
interpretation.
a better job she could do.
Oh, Bunsen coming in as the harsh director. All right. Well, what do we think? Couth or uncouth? I think that's totally uncouth and that person needs help.
I think it's all about perspective. I think if you're a parent at the party, it's pretty couth. If you're not a parent at the party, it's probably uncouth.
I think that the suggestion of a wolf howl next time is much safer and a lot more couth.
Caroline, couth or uncouth?
Yeah, uncouth. I'm going for wolf howl. I'm voting for wolf howl because I just think it's more
safe
bonding.
Oh,
that's right. Get the pack together. Get the pack on.
Well, it's time for our So Uncouth of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Now, usually we've been a little more global in our outlook.
Yep.
But it's time to look inwards and see what's been happening more locally.
Okay.
Channel 7 defends stupid new astrology segment following scathing criticism over addition to the evening news bulletin.
What are they doing? They got Jonathan Kaner or something in there.
Jonathan Kaner's dead now, Caroline.
No, he's always alive.
As per Sky News, Channel 7 has defended a new daily astrology segment to be introduced as part of its evening news bulletin.
God.
The network has confirmed it will be bringing in the new segment featuring an astrology report from Natasha Weber, known as Astro Tash. Now, listen.
Astro Tash.
No shade to Astro Tash. She can do what she likes. I would just say...
And good on her for getting such a well-paid gig, I imagine, as well.
That's time.
I more take issue with Channel 7. There's a new director of news and current affairs called
astrology.
Anthony DeSegli.
A new department called, it's the Department of News, Current Affairs and Astrology.
He said it's part of exploring new ideas and concepts. But I mean, this feels like a regression. Like you said, the 70s. Are we in the age of Aquarius?
It sounds like a cost-cutting measure because I know Channel 7 might be a little light on for funds at the moment.
Listen, I don't want to say that since I left journalism, things have gone to the dogs, but I'm not saying that, okay?
Do you know what? I reckon it could be really interesting if you kind of like, say, for example, like if you read like Biden's astrology prediction for this week. Do you know what I mean? You could.
That's not what they're after, though. I think you're taking it to a way more erudite place. Listen, generally speaking, there's opportunity here because this is what Mr. Segli said in a statement to news.com.au. We are incredibly proud of the groundbreaking and quality journalism that 7 News produces every single bulletin. We're exploring new ideas and concepts to bring in new audiences so that we can showcase them this journalism. So it's just anything is possible.
It's a bit of fluff. It's
Open
a bit of garnish. It's a bit of bait.
It's bait.
Yeah.
But wouldn't it be good, though, to look at the news and current affairs through astrology? I mean, I think that is I might even attempt to do that for next week for us.
Right, you do that.
And I might just do a little bit of a kind of like
add a lens.
Yeah, I might do. Anyway, I don't want to make any promises because as we know, I'm not very good at fulfilling promises, but it's just a suggestion. I might
Thank
do
you,
it.
Bunsen.
I like it. I think it's
I love
great.
it.
I think it adds a whole new flavour to fake news. I mean,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, look, I think I think that there's opportunity for us too. Like, we all know the news is depressing, and you don't need astrology if you want to keep things light and fact-free. You can come to us. Book So Uncouth. We'd like to be booked and busy.
Exactly.
Put us on the 7 News Bulletin.
We have Leo rising.
We're available. And on that note, I will copy you later. We're 3 Taurans. We're ready to go. Stubborn. Stubborn as bulls.
Copy us later.
Copiers.
So uncouth.